DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. Dre, what is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, we're on part 5, the finale of our 5-part mini-series, How America Does Immigration Wrong. Before we get into this, I remind you all of 3 things. First of all, my text message number down below in the description. Secondly, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You want to have me as your direct coach? This is your opportunity to do so. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can learn more about our program, how to get started, and you can see the receipts that we have already collected of people we have helped and are helping right now to this very day. And workonmygame.com. That's where you can get on my email list completely for free. Get my emails that I send out every single day. I do a whole lot of writing as well as the recording of this show. I do a lot of writing. So go to workonmygame.com, get on my email list. That out the way, let's pick up where we left off, which is point number 13, starting part number 5, point 13 of this series, How America Does Immigration Wrong. Number 5, crime. As we just talked about, when you have more immigrants coming into the country, especially those who are not documented, they're here illegally, and thus they have no reason to have respect for the norms, customs, or the laws of the land, they could commit crime, not get caught, not get held accountable, and generally not care that they committed a crime. Maybe they were already committing crimes in their country before they came here. This is something that Donald Trump pushed on a lot in his 2 winning political campaigns. And they came here to do a crime in a place where they're undocumented. It's harder for them to be found. And they have generally been welcomed to come here by a political party. Again, why would you not do it? If you're a person with the mindset of a criminal, which means you're going to do crime no matter what, and you were doing crime in your home country, but you have a reputation because you've been doing so much crime in your home country, you might want to chill on doing more crime there because you may face a very stiff penalty. But you come here and you have no record, then you can commit crime here. You're not documented. They don't know who you are. You might be able to slip through the cracks. And on top of that, you were welcomed here by a political party. All right, half of the power in America is split between 2 political parties, and half of that party is saying, hey, come here. We are open to having you come here, and you got a clean slate. Why not come here? Why not come here and try your hand doing crime? Now, I wouldn't recommend any of you do crime no matter where you are and no matter where you come from. But if you have the mindset of being a criminal, why not take your chance going somewhere where your slate is clean as opposed to continuing to run up a rap sheet where they already know you? A resume where I already know you. Again, what would you do if you were a criminal, if you can even get yourself into this frame of mind? All right, so when people come here and they have no respect for the norms, customs, or the laws of the land, they can commit crime, not get caught, not be held accountable, and not care. All right, this is what happens. I'm not saying everybody who's an immigrant commits crime. Of course not. But the immigrants who do commit crime, what are we doing about it? Again, think about the examples I've given you when we talked about assimilation. When you go to other countries, can you go to another country and just violate the laws and violate the rules or even violate the norms and be allowed to stay? No, they will kick you out. You go to another country and you are simply violating the norms, not even the law, but the norms, they will find a way to get rid of you. And there are communities in America where if you are violating the norms and violating the rules and not doing things how they want you to do them, they will kick you out. Some of you live in places where there is an HOA, a homeowners association, where there are certain rules that you have to abide by. They tell you no loud music. You must keep your grass cut. You must cut the grass at least once a week. You got to run the sprinklers if it hasn't been raining for at least 10 days. If it hasn't rained for 10 days or more, there are certain things you can do, certain things you can't do. Here's where you can park your car. You can't park your car on the grass. You got to bring your kids' bikes on the inside. You can't be playing music when you drive through the neighborhood. They'll tell you all the rules of the community, and if you violate those rules, they will kick you out. And there are other communities in America where maybe the rules aren't written down on paper, but they are firmly established and they are enforced. Somebody will be coming, knocking on your door if you're violating those rules, because there are rules. And if you don't abide by them, they will find a way to get rid of you. Whether they do it officially, whether they do it quietly, they'll get rid of you in communities that uphold their standards. The problem is the United States of America as a community as a whole, we are not even acknowledging standards, let alone are we upholding them, let alone are we enforcing them. This is the issue. And this, again, what Donald Trump pressed on in his winning political campaigns, because he's speaking right to the hearts of what a lot of people are thinking, and he represented it, which is why he won. So maybe, again, as I said, someone's already committing crime. Why not take their chance? So when Trump spoke directionally of other countries, and he would allude to things like they're sending their rapists, they're sending their criminals, they're sending their gang members, they're not sending their best. He said that in his 2016 campaign. They're not sending their best. They're sending some of their worst people here. That was true. That doesn't mean every immigrant coming was one of their worst people. There are many immigrants who have come here, who have been here, and who are trying to get here, who are actually good people, are going to contribute to society once they're in a position to do so, and they're going to be upholding normal everyday people that just happen to come from another country. Are those part of the immigrants? Yes, they are. But are they all are also mixed in criminals who don't give a damn about any standards or rules and are going to do criminal things? Yes, there are. And again, what other country would allow someone who has a criminal background in America to just come to their country? You know that when you go to another country, they do a little background on you. They find out a little bit about who you are. And if they don't like what they see, you can't come. Straight up, they say, yeah, you can't come. No, you are denied. Your visa is denied. You may not visit our country because we took a look at your background. We don't like what we see. You can't come here. Sorry, don't buy a plane ticket. You ain't coming. And that's what it is. Or get your money back from your plane ticket if you already bought it. And it doesn't mean every immigrant fits this description. But again, if you do fit that description, other countries wouldn't let you come. That's why people end up defaulting to coming to America, because we ain't doing any background checking. We're just letting people come in. Donald Trump has spoken on this, that they are not vetting the people that are coming across the border. At least they weren't. The previous administration, they didn't have people vetting the people coming across the border. So we were just letting anybody in. And again, when you let just anybody in, that just anybody might end up doing some things you don't want them to do. But who can you blame when you're the one who let them in the first place? That's the issue. That's the reason why I say these are nasty, vile people who don't really care about the people that their decisions are affecting. They care about themselves, and they're just doing whatever makes them look good so they can stay in power, which is why you shouldn't trust the government anyway, regardless of who they are. And when he said these things, again, many people took it to mean he was saying that every immigrant is that, and that's when people start calling him xenophobic and racist and all of those things. No, that's not what he was saying. He didn't lay it out in logical terms the way that I'm laying it out logically. He painted pictures, because Donald Trump's a guy who speaks in metaphors, as I've explained many times. But people who hated him took it as, oh, he's saying that all immigrants are nasty criminals and rapists. No, that's not what he said. And people who loved him said they couldn't explain what I'm explaining, but they understood what I'm explaining to you in words. All right, they had it in their minds and hearts. I'm verbalizing it. What many people couldn't explain is that he's letting you know that these countries are sending their worst people over here. They don't even want these people, and they're from the country. They're getting rid of them on us. They're dumping their trash on us. Was that happening? Yes, it was. Does that mean it applies to everybody? No, it doesn't. But was it happening? Yes, it was. He was painting a clear picture of what was happening, what could happen, and what has happened. That was a very clear picture. Moving on to point number 14. Today's topic, once again, we're on part 5 of our ongoing series, How America Does Immigration Wrong. Number 14, community tension. This is something that has been touched on earlier. Imagine that 500 people who are not from this country, those of you who live in America, 500 people who are not from America all got dumped into your town tomorrow. What do you think would happen? 500 people not from America, they all got dumped into your town tomorrow. Whether they get a place to live or not, let's assume they get thrown into an apartment complex that has some openings. Okay, and you live in that apartment complex. What do you think is going to change? What do you think is going to happen? Where would they live? What public services would they be using? Do they speak your language? Do you want your kids around them? Do they give a damn about how things work in your city or your town? Would they have any respect for you, for your belongings, for your family when they see you outside? Would they respect the norms of how things were going in that space when they all get dumped there all at the same time? What do you think would happen? Would you even want to experience this? I'm thinking most of you are probably saying no. I'm saying no. I'm an American. I'm black. I'm an American. Born and raised here. My parents are from here. Their parents are from here. My lineage goes back here in the United States of America. I would not want 500 people from another land dumped into my town, my neighborhood, where I live tomorrow. I would not want that. I ain't saying I'm against immigration. I'm saying I wouldn't want that situation to happen. Those are two different things. There's a big gap between the two. And I would bet, and most of you would not want that situation, even though, and here's the funny thing that I often point out the left for, Democrats for, even though a lot of Democrats will say, well, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, let's put them in your neighborhood. Again, I gave you this example. When these mayors of these alleged sanctuary cities said you can send your people to our cities, when they got sent there, their tone changed really quickly when they realized what it was actually like to have these people dumped into your town. Sound good to call yourself a sanctuary city when you're just virtue signaling. You don't have to actually stand on what you say. Then when you got to stand on what you say, the situation changed. It changed very quickly. For those of you who don't know, these are all legitimate questions here that any citizen in America would have, especially if you're in a town and you take pride in that town, you take pride in the fabric of that town, you take pride in the way things are in that town, and you plan on continuing to live in that town for a long time into the future. But if the fabric of that town gets changed overnight, what would you do? Again, the towns that I've lived in, I'll tell you what would happen. There'd be a strong, and when I say strong, I mean strong pushback from the locals. Like, hey, we ain't doing this. We ain't doing this. And this fully explains why certain places and certain people vote for what they vote for and vote the way that they vote, because they will push back strong. The places that I've lived, all right, since I've been in South Florida over the last almost 20 years, it's been, what year was that? 17 years that I lived in Miami. The places that I've lived, if something like that was to even be proposed as happening, the locals would push back so strongly and so quickly that the conversation would never become more than a conversation. It would open and close, grand opening, grand closing, like Jay-Z says in his song. It'd be over real quick. As soon as anyone even tried to broach the topic, no, we ain't letting these people in here. This tends to be the situation in conservative leaning areas. In liberal leaning areas, people tend to virtue signal or let as many people in as well, whoever we want to let in, let immigrants in, whatever, until they realize what it's actually like. Again, reality is a lot different than the lab tests. Moving on to point number 15. Today's topic, once again, is how America does immigration wrong. Number 15. Must America be a safe haven and a welcome space for everybody? This is a question. This is an open question that I'm asking. Is that what America has to be? This is an existential question when it comes to Americans and immigration, because America has been this land of the free, home of the brave, this melting pot, this place that has allowed so many different immigrants. And America became America by being a mix of so many different people from so many different cultures who came here for a couple of reasons. One of them being an opportunity, another one being religious freedom. And we became this country that we became. Everybody can trace their roots back to somewhere that is often not this land, unless you happen to be a Native American. Everybody can trace their lineage somehow, some way, if you go back far enough, if you can figure it out, to somewhere that's not here. That's not the land that is called the United States of America, most of us. So we became this country because people immigrated here. At the same time, there are a lot of strong arguments against immigration here. So how do you reconcile that? That's a really good question. I'm going to address that question right here. First of all, America became America because there was a solid accepted fabric of what it meant to be an American. Even if you came here as an immigrant, you were taught. You were forced to assimilate. You had to learn the language. You had to learn how to get around here and operate under the norms and standards of how America was/is. Even when you were coming here as an immigrant, there was a time when that was the norm and that was how it was. And there's some of you living here who remember that time, and you came here and you were taught, you assimilated, you learned, you had to figure out how things work here and you had to adjust. Some of you listening to this right now know what that experience was like. What happened is, or what started to happen, is through some radical left, I'll use that term here, radical left policies and radical left ideas, is that people wanted to lower those standards, remove those boundaries, remove those parameters, and say, just let anybody come in and do whatever you want and be however you want. This is all for the good of everybody. And that's bullshit. That's the problem. That's where things started to go wrong when it came to immigration. It's not the concept of don't have immigrants at all. There will be immigrants under Donald Trump, but they will come here legally. They will come here with proper documentation, and they're going to come here the right way, hopefully because they're being vetted as quality people, or at least on paper they look like quality people. But just letting anybody come in and doing whatever with no kind of vetting and no kind of standards or rules, as the Biden-Harris administration did, again, this is plain to see nowadays, that's not acceptable. That's not okay. And Americans have not only a right, but a responsibility to push back against that. Period. If we're going to have a fabric of what a country is about, then we need to know what it's about. And everyone who comes in needs to know what it's about. Same way that when you walk into a new job, what's one of the first things they do? They put you through training. Why do they put you through training? They put you through training to tell you the fucking rules. All right, this is how it works. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. When this happens, you do this. When that happens, you do that. They tell you the rules up front so that when you start working, you can't feign ignorance as if you didn't know the standards that you were being held to, because they told you up front. Before you even start working, you got to go through training. Is this true or not? Okay, so it's the same thing here in America. Nobody's going through training. People are just coming in, doing what they want, and nobody's holding them accountable. That is not acceptable, nor is it sustainable. It introduces the law of entropy. Any situation, community, group, organization left to its own devices with no parameters and no standards must descend into chaos and disorder. It must. There is no plan B. There's no gray area. You either have standards and rules or you're going towards chaos. Those are only two things you can be doing. You're getting better or you're getting worse, period. This is a binary. There is no middle space. So does America need to be the savior for every country and every person in the world who's looking for somewhere to go outside of where they're from? Every person seeking asylum, they got to come to America. Every person looking for opportunity has to come here. And do we have to welcome everybody? The United States has positioned itself as that place, and therefore, for many people, the answer is a resounding yes. My answer is a yes with an asterisk, and I've been giving you the asterisk over the last 5 episodes of the show. I don't know if America can keep being this place. We can't keep it up this way because the way we've been doing things is, again, as I've already explained, eroding the fabric of what it even means to be an American as we bring in more people who don't give a damn, don't care, and are not told or held accountable to what it means to be an American. I don't think many Americans even know what it means. I don't think many Americans can agree as to what it means. And on top of that, a lot of people aren't even trying to find out because they don't care. That's an issue. A place stops being a place when people start having this type of mindset. And being that America has plenty of issues in the people who are already here and have been here for generations, how is it that we're opening our doors and allowing people who are not from here and can't trace their lineage back here to come here and pull on our resources while you have homeless people who can trace their family lineage back 3-4 generations here in America? They're not being helped, but you want to help the people who just got here 2 minutes ago on an app, who got fast-tracked to legal status? Well, the people who were born in the legal status, nobody's helping them. I don't understand that. I don't understand the mathematics or the logic behind that. There is no logic behind it. That's the point. That's why you can't trust politicians. So why are we continuing to try and help people who are not from here, who don't have roots here, and we're at the same time not helping the people who are from here and do have roots here? That's always been the existential question, and it should continue to be the question until somebody actually answers it. And the first thing we can do, I don't know if anyone has a solution to homelessness or people lacking resources, but the first thing we can do is stop giving our resources to people who are not from here and help the people who are from here, because every other country in the world prioritizes their people. Then they help everybody else. That's the way it works. But America's not doing that. All that said, let's recap. This is part 5 of our mini series now on how America does immigration wrong. Number 13, crime. When there are more migrants coming into the country, especially those who don't give a damn and have committed crime in other places, what's stopping them from committing crime here where they have a clean slate and might not be traced? Number 14, community tensions. Again, if 500 people got dumped into your town tomorrow, how would you feel about it? Regardless of who they are or where they're from, would you be okay with it? Would you rather they get dumped into somebody else's town instead of your town? Most of you probably say, yeah, I'd rather they go somewhere else besides coming here. Number 15, must America be a safe haven for everybody? Again, when you keep pouring milk into the water, it's no longer milk and it's no longer water. What is it? It's a new thing that nobody quite knows exactly what it is because we keep blending everything together. So we need to figure out a way that America can stay America. We can prioritize our people instead of prioritizing other people besides us, and helping the people who actually have roots here in the country as opposed to visitors who are just coming in and may not even stay and may not give a damn about what it is that made this country what it is. That is a legitimate position to stand on. All that said, everybody, work on mygame.com, get on my email list, workonyourgameuniversity.com, get into my coaching program, work on your game. Dre, all